Quitting your day job to pursue your passion, like building your own startup, can be a daunting task, but with the right mindset and preparation, it can be one of the best decisions you will ever make. It's been 1.5 years now that I quit my well-paid job at Microsoft Japan while surviving on cup ramen, just kidding, in order to go full-time and managed to raise $150,000 for my own startup after a few months of quitting. If you're new to the channel, my name is Philip and I'm myself a solo technical founder building my own startup SewaYou, a location-based language exchange app. In today's video, I'm going to be answering the following 4 questions to be asking yourself when transitioning from a side hustle to taking the leap of faith with my own personal experience. First, how to know when you're ready to quit, and what are the things to do before quitting? What are the challenges you might face when quitting? And if I could do it again, what would I do differently? So, when do you know you're ready? Like in most entrepreneurial endeavor in life, the short answer is you don't. You're never gonna be 100% ready, so start before you're ready. Still, there are a few things or requirements that can serve as your green light before quitting. For me personally, as a foreign founder in Japan, I needed a valid visa to be able to run a company under my name and not having to rely on a Japanese representative or something. So my crucial green light was to get that Japanese permanent residency, and the day I got it, I handed my resignation letter to my corporate boss. Alright, that's the first point. Most people said that you should wait for your side hustle to make more than your full-time job, and that's not impossible but often unrealistic. It's crazy hard to do that, and if you do, I don't think you're gonna be watching this video right now. Reaching that point requires a strong product market fit, and you're gonna have to pour all your heart and soul in order to achieve that. And it's unlikely that you're gonna achieve that while having a 9-to-5 job. Remember that there are plenty of startups that generate zero revenue but are valued at millions or even dozens of millions of dollars. That's the game of startup if you plan to go down the road of raising external capital. Investors expect you to plant properly the seed and do farming so that everyone can harvest the big money a few years later. My startup hasn't made a single penny yet back when I quit, but still I took the decision to quit and managed to survive until successfully fundraised a few months after my departure. Also, I knew I was ready to quit when there was nothing more to learn or gain from my day job, or at least skills that I think can directly be useful in my startup journey. That links to the following mindset that is really crucial when building a startup. I knew from the first week of my first corporate job that I was not meant to be working in a 9-to-5 job, and that working in a corporate job will make my life purpose extremely unfulfilled and my day-to-day will feel empty. Either you know you're a founder or you're not. There's no room for self-doubt here. If you think that building a startup is a way to polish your resume, then you're playing the wrong game. It's like trying to raise your own kids to become a better babysitter. It doesn't make any sense. There's a million other things that are much easier that you could do if you just want to have a pretty resume. I always said to myself when I quit Microsoft Japan that was the last time in my life that I had to write a resume. That's an extreme take on the topic, but I'm sure I'm not the only one on earth to think like this. That's also a common trait that I also saw in some founders. You have to be a little bit crazy to think like this, but like Steve Jobs put it, the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. So I treat all my corporate jobs as just transition phases where I can learn new skills, put aside some money to survive, and wait until the day I can legally go all in with my own startup. So if you know inside that you're meant to be a founder, then the answer to the question whether you're ready or not will not depend on your internal state of mind, but rather some actionable external factors such as money. So I had a 1.5 years-ish worth of saving to survive before I quit. Family dependency. So this is an important one. So carefully go through your finance before taking the leap. If you have any family members you have to support who depend on your day job income. Product traction. Although there wasn't a huge sign or product market fit for my startup SewaYou, I hit a tipping point in demand where I can say that this is gonna work if I pour all my soul into it. And that tipping point was when I realized that there was some heavy users that have more sessions count on the app than me, the founder of the app who's obsessed with testing and checking the app 100 times a day. I was no longer testing my idea, and the market already validates it to a certain extent, so I needed more time to make moonshot bets rather than iterating over small improvements. All right, now let's talk about the things that I did before quitting. If you know you're gonna need a credit card, then apply before you quit. This is not financial advice, and I'm not saying you should take credit cards, loans, or something, but there's some benefits when using credit cards over cash, such as earning free cash back or points or miles. When you apply for credit cards, you'll be asked to provide your current company and your annual income. And it's unlikely that you're gonna earn more in your first month running your startup full-time than in your previous job. So if you need a credit card, then just apply while having a day job because it will increase your chance to be approved. I also knew some people who take on a house loan before they quit their 9 to 5 job because in some cases, like in Japan, you can buy a house or apartment without upfront money. Renting versus buying is a whole different topic to discuss, but if it's something you aspire to do and can afford it, then getting a loan while still working at your day job can increase your approval chance. Personally didn't take any loan. The next thing I did before quitting was to learn the basics of company, like incorporation, company finance, like accounting basic stuff, being able to read a balance sheet, profit and loss, cash flow, and just learn how company stocks and valuation work in a nutshell. This is just to give you a rough idea on what to expect when running a company and some skill that all CEO needs to have. And lastly, and this one hurts a lot financially, know how much tax you're gonna have to pay after quitting. I don't know how things work in other countries, but in Japan, most of your tax payment is based on your last year income and not the current one. So when quitting my job at Microsoft Japan, price, I had to pay down the road like 9 months worth of runway, and I didn't expect that at all, so be aware and do your math accordingly. Now, what are some of the challenges that I faced right after quitting and going all in my startup? The lack of structure and discipline I had before sometimes derails my days. Even though I've built up some self-discipline when side hustling over 4 years, switching to working on it full-time is sometimes destabilizing. I completely lost the notion of time. No more clear line between weekdays and weekends. I went from waking up early at 9:30 a.m. in the morning to completely becoming a night owl and sleep at like 3 or 4 a.m. because there's always more stuff you want to work on, or just ending up binge watching some Netflix shows because you want to reward and convince yourself that you deserve it after a long day of work. Sunrise in Japan starts at like 4:30 a.m. So sometime when I was about to go to sleep, I start to hear birds singing. It's like living as a vampire. Having full control of your time is a great feeling and also a great power, but like Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. So time management is an ongoing battle. The earlier you master it, the better. Another challenge is that every working hour is now benchmarked against my previous corporate job hourly salary, and the clock is always ticking and a constant pressure in the back of my mind. There were days when I didn't feel like putting much work, so in my head I was like, dude, you just lost a few hundreds bucks. That's a terrible feeling that you have to cope with for the entire journey. But remember, monthly salary adds up, but building a startup compounds. You're investing in your startup and results won't show up as digits in your bank account for a while. Another thing is that when side hustling, every contribution to your side project is a plus. But when you quit, you need to carefully choose what to prioritize and work on to push the business forward and what to delegate or completely stop doing. Managing expenses was also another challenge. Like I said, a big chunk of my savings were gone paying taxes. I had to live off my savings while paying for the app server costs out of my own pocket. Now, after learning all these lessons, if I could do it again, I would do things differently as the following. Incorporating my company as soon as I quit so that I can start paying service fee as business expenses. Even though it's the same money out of your pockets, but personal money spent on company operation costs is more expensive from a tax point of view. I won't go into the details here. Applying for benefits and grants from the employment center as soon as possible to get more financial support. When you quit your job on your own will, you're still eligible for some financial support from the government because you have paid for the employment insurance when working in a corporate. Not only that, you can also be eligible for financial support support when you newly open a company. And after you quit, the sooner you apply for it, the bigger percentage you can receive. This is maybe not just specific to only Japan, so you need to know that this kind of program and institution exists. So check out the details in your local employment center and information online, or just ask fellow founders who've been through this before. If I knew that I had so much taxes to pay, I would maybe stay another month or two at my job to get a bit more savings. But knowing how impulsive I am, I don't think I could have stayed another month at my job, knowing how much can be done for my startup in a month working on it full time. Another thing that I would do differently is to meticulously identify my strength and striving to work only on things that only me can do, or things that I enjoy doing, but also things that I'm the best at. Try to minimize doing things you hate because it will drain your energy, and energy management is as important as time management in a startup realm. So find things that can be delegated to others like freelancers, and protect your time at all costs to work on things that have high return. Remember, every hour counts. The clock never stops ticking. Time flies faster than you think when being on your own. It's still an ongoing process for me, and I'm still learning. I knew I had to quit and that the corporate world is not for me when I hear these 10 words from my boss. So watch this video here if you want to learn more. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to avoid missing new weekly video about the startup lessons I've learned while building mine. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.